citizenship anthology came out this spring, and it's called Complex Allegiances, Constellations of Immigration, Citizenship, and Belonging. And it looks at all sorts of different combinations of citizenship. And people who lived here for 30 years and don't become citizens, people who become citizens return to their home country, families where there's differing citizenship in them. We interviewed part of my family, and my sister lives in Venezuela. Her children are dual citizens. My niece married somebody from Cuba, Cuba proper. He travels on a Spanish passport because his parents were Spanish, and they had a baby in Australia. So that baby, my little great-nephew, can technically travel on 5 passports, right? So that is kind of the new world. So we very pleased to have Allegiances-Sarkissian here. I interviewed him for this. I've known Ara since he came to the States. I lived in Watertown, and he was my son's best friend. And that has been a very important experience for me and for him. And so he's going to read from the interview that we did together. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you about Ara. Ara is a wonderful musician and composer, and has several brilliant CDs. One I really love is called the Comitas Project. He's also the director of a wonderful band called Musaner that we saw last night, Michelle, and which combines Armenian folk melodies and jazz, and it is really, really wonderful work.
I'm going to read a couple of brief segments from the interview I did with Heather on the phone. The first, she's subtitled, "What is America?" I think, having been here for 20 years now, that this idea of America as a homeland is starting to take hold here. The notion of "I was here before you," prevalent in many other places in the world, seems to be starting to take hold here as well. Perhaps it just happens when a country gets to a certain age, I don't know. People are developing the same sense of attachment and protectionism that you find in other places. I don't know if this is controllable. Is it just something natural? I cannot figure out if it is something anyone could control. Perhaps it is just the result of thinking in a box. I think about this a lot recently. People assume they share a lot, and a lot gets brushed under the rug for them to think this way. But every 20 or 30 years there are problems, such as riots, that no one speaks of. What is interesting is that people here have very selective memories. Each time it is as if it's never happened before. Everything is in the past, and the past is always untouchably far away. This is very strange for me, being Armenian, because we never forget anything. We remember what happened 1300 years ago, which battles took place, who won, who lost, how many were killed, etc. And how it affected the future, which is our present. Why can't people here remember what happened in Los Angeles, say, in the 90s? Maybe there's something I can learn from them here. Perhaps it is good to forget. Perhaps I can learn from America that forgetting can be good. And then I think maybe there's something they should learn from me. Maybe they should learn that they should not forget. But when you finally get your citizenship, no one really tells you which one is the right answer. The second segment is entitled, "Where is the we?" in quotes. The difficulty about the we, about including others in that we, is the question, why should I include you in my we when you live in your own community and marry your own? I think people ascribe reasons to why immigrants congregate together, which may not always be completely true. They may be the same reasons that people born here get together and, say, watch movies about cars crashing or baseball games. If I had decided to marry someone across race or culture, I feel that would have been a clear sign of an attempt to integrate. But at the same time, I would not be able to be myself. I would always have to explain myself. I'm not sure it was a decision about being exclusive or inclusive, but about not having to explain myself every morning when I woke up. We, for the immigrant, is different from that of the native born. That is something difficult to cut through and understand. How can you say we should kick them out or that they should go away? Who is the we that is speaking in this case? Is it the people who are here? Is it the people who have a piece of paper? Is it only people who eat cheeseburgers? Is it people who are obsessed with having whiter teeth than the rest of the world? Thank you.
Steegmann, born in Germany, has lived in New York City since 1980. Her English translations and nonfiction texts have been published by W.W. Norton, The New York Times, Guernica Mag, Sick, 138 Journal, Dimensions 2, Promethean, The Wising Up Press, Epiphany, Ezra, Absinthe, and Translit. In Germany, she has published in several German magazines, written the film script for New York Memories, and is currently at work on a radio feature. She teaches writing at the International Summer Academy in Venice, Italy, and at the City College of New York.
I will read from the section Why We Commit, and it is about the day that I became an American citizen. And I'm reading the beginning and then just one paragraph from the middle and then the end, so there's about like 3 pages missing. The New Torn American. The naturalization ceremony is a solemn and meaningful event, the letter said. I was to dress in proper attire to respect the dignity of the occasion. No jeans, shorts, or flip-flops. It was Friday, December 19, 2008. WQXR predicted heavy snowfall, hazardous driving conditions, a possible blizzard. Flip-flops were out of the question. I set it on my interview outfit, white turtleneck, navy pantsuit, and moon boots. The morning host on the radio announced a Lincoln portrait by Aaron Copland. As the music floated along, solemn and mysterious, the wailing contrabassoons transported me to my homeland, the poor, blood-soaked continent of Europe. I thought about rape camps and ethnic cleansing during the Yugoslav wars, the millions killed during 2 world wars, and the constant threat of nuclear war during the Cold War. Gruesome pictures of nameless horrors flashed through my mind. The brass section soared towards a dramatic climax, and the pounding tam-tam sent tremors through my body. A male voice rose above the orchestra. Fellow citizens, we cannot escape history. This music, these words are no coincidence, I thought. As I would not be a slave, so I will not be a master, the voice proclaimed. I thought about our European emperors and kings, our counts and rulers. Being born into the right class guaranteed wealth and success. Being born into the wrong class guaranteed the life of an uneducated laborer. My grandparents, my mother and father, had to leave school at the end of 8th grade to work in the fields. My mother-in-law came to the US in 1950 with her young family. A refugee from the Soviet Union, she had ended up in Germany at the end of World War II, one of millions of displaced persons stranded like flotsam and jetsam all over the continent. In the Ukraine, they had told her, "You were born in a basket, don't try to fit yourself into a suitcase." She loved the United States, the greatest country on earth. In Irvington, New Jersey, it did not matter that she was born in a basket. She could aspire to a suitcase or even a steamer trunk. Words were twirling in my head. Heimat, Mutterland, Vaterland. Heimat is untranslatable, I thought. It is not the same as homeland. Heimat is deeper, graver, Heimat carries the weight of a profound attachment. It holds centuries of German consciousness. Wasn't I forever bound to my Heimat by my birth, my childhood, my experiences, my way of looking at the world? Could I truly become a citizen of another country? Was I betraying my Heimat by becoming an American citizen? For 3 hours, I sat in room 160, the jury room of the U.S. Southern District Court, one of 300 eager immigrants. There were naturalization ceremonies taking place in the courthouse of the other boroughs at the same time. On average, 70,000 New Yorkers became U.S. citizens each year. Many, like me, had lived in the city for years. I watched Chinese and Spanish translators direct the immigrants. Parents depended on their children to be their interpreters. I read the New York Times back to back. Bernard L. Madoff had committed a multi-million-dollar fraud. Rockets and mortars had been fired in Gaza. The Iraqi journalist who had hurled a shoe at President Bush during his visit to Baghdad was applauded in the Arab world. When I had to surrender my green card, I panicked. My stomach felt queasy, a sensation of losing my footing, getting seasick. Once I left the courthouse, I would not be an alien resident, a detached observer any longer, but a citizen. I was taking this step at a time of rampant anti-Americanism. My new homeland was vilified everywhere. As an American citizen, I would not win any popularity contest unless I went to Kosovo. As a European living in the United States by choice, I had been attacked numerous times traveling abroad. How could I live in such a primitive country? Americans were imperialist warmongers. Schools forbid the teaching of evolution. The Christian fundamentalist ruled. All civilized countries had abolished the death penalty. Why not the USA? And now I'm skipping to the back, to the end. We sang the Star-Spangled Banner. I cringed during the part about the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, and got teary-eyed just the same. In spite of myself, I felt proud to belong to the land of the free and the home of the brave. Ich bin hin und her gerissen, I thought. I am torn. The German expression felt so much stronger, being yanked this way and that, back and forth, between rapture and doubt. I remembered an essay by Gloria Anzaldúa. We are not crossing the bridge from one culture to another, she said. We are staying on the bridge. The back and forth, the hin und her gerissen, would be my permanent home. I was a Zwitterding, a creature with an American brain and a European soul. Inside of me, American optimism and eternal trust in the future lived a peaceful coexistence with European pessimism and wariness about our long and bloody history. As citizen for just a few minutes, I felt different already. The court employee gave me a conspirational smile on my way out as if saying, now you're one of us. I felt different once I left the court building. Outside, the first white wallop of winter was turning manic downtown Manhattan into an oasis of calm. The snow made everything look pure and pristine. The people in the street, the deli clerk, the token booth attendant, the pharmacist at the Duane Reade store were my people now. I could no longer say the Americans are ignorant. They don't know anything about history or geography. I would have to say we Americans need to educate our young people so they learn about the rest of the world, so they can learn from the past. America's problems had become my problems. I was responsible for making America a better, fairer home for all its inhabitants. Something had shifted. No more them, only us.